math videos, and popcorn. All you need.
Hey, let 'em do it again. Yeah. Hey, you said you were my friend.
Morning. We are going to find the inverse of a function as fast as possible. Check it out. Here's the steps to it. Step 1, we replace, and I'm going to do this fast on purpose, okay, because this is pretty simple stuff. We're going to replace f of x with y. That is step 1. I'm just going to recopy everything else. Okay, step 1 complete. Step 2, replace the y with x and the x with y. Now, if you have more than one, do them all. So you make all the x's y's and all the y's x's. So now that is step 2. Now step 3 is to solve this thing for y. So we're going to try to solve this for y. All right, and notice I have this squared term on the bottom, so I'm just going to do the first thing I feel like doing. All right, so I'm going to basically multiply both sides by this denominator. And over here, I'm going to have that. Okay? And then I'll show you a little tip on why that works the way it does. Now, here's what happens. This thing here cancels this. Okay, that cancels that, leaving me with 1 on this side. And on the left side of this, I just have y minus 1 squared times x. And remember, I'm solving for y here. So I'm going to divide both sides by x now. Okay, and now that will cancel, leaving me y minus 1 squared equals 1 over x. And we're trying to solve this for y now. So at this point, I am going to square root both sides. I'm going to square root both sides of this. And on the right side, I'm going to have plus or minus 1 over x. And on the left side, that square rooting a group like that, that's just going to poof, make it go away. So that's just going to be y minus 1. Almost done solving it for y. So I'm going to add 1. And here's how that turns out. Y equals, and you need to put the 1 in front of the plus or minus. You always do that. So it's 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 over x. Now, this would not be a good video, even though this is the inverse here. Okay? And then the very last step is you replace this y, or this y with the inverse notation, which would be f of negative 1 of x, f to the negative 1 of x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 over x, and that would be your final answer. But I want to seize an opportunity here to show you something. At this point here in this problem, I could have done this a much easier way. Let me show you that. Let's back up to where it's written in green, because this happens all the time. Okay? Whenever you have something like that, it is based off of the fact that, say, 8 equals 24 over 3. Now you're like, what? Oh, okay, watch this. I can take this and interchange these two numbers. I can leave the 24 there and flip these two numbers around. So now it's still true. So I could have just went, okay, I'm going to put this up here and the x on the bottom. And look at where I would have wound up. I would have got right here a lot faster. And then what I would have done is just square rooted both sides right there and gotten it all the way down to the last step. That's a good pro tip right there. The last thing I want to show you, so much for having a quick video, is I want to graph both of these, because if you graph the original and the answer, put stars beside them, the original and its inverse, it is symmetrical to the line y equals x, or it should be. And we got a whole lot of plus or minuses and stuff like that, so let's give this a shot. So we're going to graph this. 1 divided by parenthesis Help me out. What was it? X minus 1? And then quantity squared. And let's take a look at what that graph looks like. Interesting. How could that thing be symmetrical to anything? And let's come back and do the plus or minus version of that. So it was, help me here, 1 plus, what was it? The square root of 1 over x, right? Okay, now let's graph that. Okay, and then we have to do the negative version of that. So it's going to be 1 minus the square root of 1 over x. And we'll look at that. Okay, now remember, if this is an inverse, this is why we're doing that. It should be symmetric to the line y equals x. So let's throw that line on there too. This line will be in bright purple. Okay, so x. Now watch what happens. You can see that that is in fact a reflection. Now this calculator is not showing the rest of this going down through here just because of pixel issues, but you can see that that's the same on both sides. It's kind of like a bird, you know. It's kind of what I'm seeing there. It's kind of like bird wings. Yeah, I don't know about this. Kind of coming up like that, and it's the same on both sides. Check that out again. See that? Kind of like bird wings on both sides. So like, you know, bird, the head would be here, and the tail would be, I don't know what I'm doing here, but you get it. It's kind of like that. All right? You guys have a good one.